Rados live hip hop band. We about to play some music for y'all, okay?
My name is Darnley Mello D. Hodge. I'm the frontman and founder of Mello D and the Rados live hip hop band. You can check us out at livehiphopband.com. Mello D and the Rados was started by myself in 1996 in Richmond, Virginia when I was a student down there. And my entire life, I have always kept my musical influences separate from each other. Basically, I started playing saxophone when I was 9 years old. I also started emceeing when I was 9 years old. I did my first rhyme called School when I was in the 4th grade. And I also picked up the saxophone that same year. And my entire life up and through high school, I'd always kept them separate. I'd always done, you know, my jazz was over here, my hip hop was over here, and I never really learned to infuse the two or fuse the two. I never learned to fuse the two until basically around 95, 96 when I left high school and went to college. I was around a lot of other musicians, cats in the jazz program. There are other groups coming out like The Roots, and you know, of course, I was already a Tribe Called Quest fan, and a lot of other hip hop artists that I grew up listening to and that I love that incorporated hip hop in their music. So not hip hop into their music, but incorporated live instruments or that at least a live jazz sound into their music. So when I was a jazz minor at VCU, you know, I decided that's what I wanted to do. So I put together my own band called originally the Desperados. I eventually shortened the name to the Rados. Then I called it Mello D and the Rados, mainly as mainly because I was inspired by kind of Prince and the Revolution in that regard, because musicians are kind of fickle. I couldn't find steady cats, so I said, well, if I'm gonna have a band and I'm gonna have different musicians on every gig, then let me make it Mello D and the Rados, so that way as long as I show up, and if my band members are fickle and I got to use a different keyboard player on a different gig or a different drummer, as long as I show up, you know, the crowd will still say, okay, this is who I came to see.
The slave ship, yo, I'm the last one to laugh at. First one to blast back. Philosophy is math at the money hungry rap cat. Musically abstract, royalties from ASCAP. Cover all expenses for the studio tracks. Want an opportunity, but the windows only have crack. Back, sad rap, your rhymes smell like ass crack. Use a son to me, like me, Shack and Shadrack. Up in the yo, with the foe, bitch, what you bitching for?
Mello D and the Rados has been a project of mine. Is something that has been an idea that I've constantly been developing over the last 11, 12 years. For about the last 7 years, I've had the same bass player. His name is Jesse Grimes. He's a real cool brother, real positive, straight edge cat, probably the only straight edge cat I've played with. Doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't hardly even curse too much, you know, real cool brother, and he's really good at playing bass and playing guitar. And you know, he's definitely a very valuable addition to the group.
You trying to crack on me?
You trying to crack on me?
Is anything wrong with it again? I'm telling you, you just said like the same thing like 5 different ways.
My drummer joined the band after him. My man's Olubenga. He's been with me for about 5 years, and he's a wild out cat, comedian, always cracking jokes, always got a sense of humor. And he's been with me on tour in England, and tour in Brazil. He's toured with me up and down the East Coast. He was on the road with me when I was out with KRS-One. And he brings a lot of energy and a lot of creativity and a lot of originality to the group. My keyboard player is the newest member of the group. His name is Soul Zaran. He basically joined us about a year and a half, 2 years ago, because my old keyboard player